Hi.
How are you?
How are you, darling?
I complain. I cannot.
Awesome. You look beautiful. I love your hair.
Thank you. Listen, I had to something. Okay, it's
Girl.
no joke. I had to just get this hair thrown into something.
Well,
Okay.
it looks good. You don't look like you quarantining. You look like you ready to go. I like it.
No, we listen. We did this very safe. 6 a.m. Just
Mm-hmm.
Raider in masks.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. It
Mm-hmm.
was good, so it was worth it. Thank you so much, first of all, for joining Black Cinema Now tonight. You are so awesome. This one for me is really special because I watched the show Boomerang before I even knew of this interview was even going to come into existence.
Yeah.
Back in season 1, I was already a fan. Like, girl, this show is bomb. And I'm telling you, you guys who are joining us, we're talking with Brittany Inge of Boomerang on BET. The show is fantastic. Like, the writing is awesome. It's so real. It's so relatable. It is right smack dab in the middle of what we as young adults are dealing with right now. So I just appreciate you guys for putting that out there. It's awesome. So you guys should tune in. We're going to talk about some of it tonight.
Yes, indeed.
But first, I wanted to start off with a little icebreaker. Like, I thought it would be kind of fun to play a trivia game.
Okay.
Since, you are on the Boomerang show.
Yes,
I figured, as an actress, you probably did your background work. You probably watched Boomerang a few times to understand.
Plenty of times. It's actually one of my favorite. It was already one of my favorite movies before I booked the show. So, but then after booking it and before auditioning, I definitely watched it several times. So.
Yeah. So you probably know a thing or two, but we're going to find out. Because we're about to play a little trivia game.
Help me. Come on, cue cards. Live.
Yes, cue cards. So pretty much, Brittany, I have 10 questions.
Okay.
And these questions, I'm going to let you know, they seem like they're easy, but you got to think about it a second before you jump out there with the answer. Because it's not obvious. It seems like it would be obvious, but it's not. Trust me.
Got it.
So we're going to give you maybe 20 seconds.
Okay.
To answer each question.
Explanations with my answer. Okay, cool.
Okay. You ready?
Yes, I think so. I hope so.
All right. We're going to get started with number 1. And you guys can be her lifeline. So if she doesn't know the answer,
help me out.
Jump out there and help her out. Y'all should know Boomerang. Like, that's a cult classic. We all know Boomerang. All right. So let's get started. Question number 1. Of the women Marcus appears to have had an intimate relationship with, who was the first?
Oh, I don't get choices?
You do. I should have given them to you.
I was like, wait, because I don't know. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so let me give you your choices. So was it Jacqueline?
Okay.
Christine?
Okay.
Yvonne? Or Lady Eloise?
Okay.
Think about the movie for a second. Think about how it kind of starts off. Think about what's insinuated.
Okay. This is a tricky one. And also, because I'm having to remember that Christy is Lela Rashawn. I have to remember. I know who Jacqueline is. Okay. So, based on, because I watched this recently. Campbell plays Yvonne, right?
Yes.
So I remember when Jacqueline's there on the date and talk to her or whatever, she says, like, girl, don't do it. He gonna sleep with you. Like, he got with, like, she like says that he like got with her at some point. Yep. I guess Yvonne is first. And that's
you got it?
Okay.
Girl, so you know your Boomerang?
Listen, I love the
hand claps for you. Yes, girl, that's good. You really thought about that. That was really good. Okay.
Deductive reasoning. That's a good one.
I like how you kind of played that out there. So, question number 2.
Okay.
During the lunch date with Gerard and Marcus, the highly racially sensitive Tyler gets food advice from a waitress.
Yes.
Which item does she discuss that Tyler is convinced is racism? Is it broccoli, asparagus, snow peas, or black-eyed peas?
Okay. I need a lifeline in the comments. I for some reason I remember it being a green vegetable.
Ooh, yes, you're very hot.
I'm hot. Okay, I remember it being a green vegetable. As much as I want to say black-eyed peas, my spirit remembers it being something green.
Mm-hmm. You know you gotta trust your spirit.
So,
go with your spirit.
So
look at your lifelines.
Someone said asparagus.
Hmm? That's the correct answer.
Okay, thank you, Lifeline. I phoned a friend for that one.
Hey, come on, Lifeline. Won't he do it?
A-dig.
Amen.
M34. Thank you. That was my lifeline. I'm trying not to cheat no more. Thank you. Thank you.
But you're doing really well because you said a green vegetable. Like, for you to have even remembered that much. I didn't remember that.
I knew it was green. That's all I knew. I was like, it was a green vegetable.
You're doing good, girl. All right. Question number 3.
Okay.
What type of food did Angela and Gerard eat on their first date? Now, you ready for this? It's tricky. Was it Chinese, Thai, Indian, or none of the above?
None. I do remember that.
Girl, yes.
They couldn't get it together. Well, Gerard put it together and make a decision. I remember that. That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
I remember.
I think you're gonna breeze through these questions. Okay.
I have to be honest. I don't know all of them. I already got help on one. We're gonna see.
But you're doing great. So hopefully this next one doesn't trip you up. This one tripped me up.
Okay.
After unintentionally standing Marcus up, Jacqueline paid him back for the tickets he was unable to use. Is that true or false?
For the tickets he was unable to use. Did Jacqueline pay back? Yes, she did pay him back.
She did.
Yeah, she did. She did.
I thought she didn't. I had to go back and watch that. I'm like, what? But she did.
She did. She put that $200 on the nightstand like he was.
She did.
Working.
Like he felt that.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So question number 5. Who was the woman Marcus said he almost married? I'm going to give you some choices.
Okay.
Deborah, Desire, Diane, or Donna. And Lifelines, help her out if
Let me be very honest. I have no idea. Now, all these D's, okay, that lets me know it was a D name, but I have no. He said he almost married?
He almost married this woman. Somebody said they remember that, so help her. Oh, help her.
You remember? Oh, she might be talking about something else. Or they might be talking about something else, the money on the nightstand. Yeah, I got to plead the fifth on this one. I don't know. Deborah, okay.
Yeah.
No memory of that. Okay.
That one was a little tricky. That one was a little hard. It was like one of those moments that kind of just, said, you weren't paying attention. You didn't really catch it.
Yeah, I missed that.
All right, so we're coming down the home stretch.
Okay.
Lady Eloise has a personal assistant. What was his name? Was it John, Theo, Todd, or Joe? That's a hard one.
That is. Okay, let me say this. I feel like it's a T name.
Ooh, your spirit is just.
I remember it being a T name. Okay, good. I just needed to know if I was warm.
You are very warm.
Great. It's a T name, and those T names were Todd and Theo.
Right?
Todd, right?
That is the correct answer. Come on, come through.
I remember Todd because he tried to play Marcus. He did
try to play Marcus. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So another question. So Lady Eloise had a special interest in Marcus. So she arranged a meeting at Chartreuse and invited him to her home. What is the name of Lady Eloise's home? Was it Turquoise Bay, Ruby Hill, Lavender Hill, or Emerald Bay?
Hilarious. Well, no one can forget Eartha Kitt's iconic "Welcome to Lavender." Like, how can you forget that? Definitely
that was spot on.
Welcome to Lavender Hill. Yeah.
Lavender Hill.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely come down a home stretch now.
Oh, Lord.
In which romantic city did Marcus consummate his relationship with Jacqueline? Was it Venice, New Orleans, Paris, or Morocco?
I remember this one. It was New Orleans.
You are so good. I didn't make these questions hard enough.
No, that one was just easy for me because I just remember. And also the other ones are like international. I know they didn't go nowhere international.
They didn't go nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, love. So last two questions. And like I said, you've been killing it. You really have. I think you maybe needed help with two.
Yeah, I definitely needed help. But yeah.
That's what's up, boo. All right.
So,
question number 9.
Okay.
During the meeting to discuss Strange's new fragrance, she offered up many inappropriate names for her perfume. Mm-hmm. Who was it that came up with the idea to simply call it Strange? Was it Nelson, Marcus, Strange herself, or Lady Eloise?
Hilarious. I love Nasty Nelson. It was Marcus.
It sure was. I remember that scene very well.
Me too.
Them panties. Girl,
she was wild. Strange was wild. That's all.
Iconic.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Our Tia, shout out to Tia Reid, carrying on the legacy. La La Milan.
Absolutely. Oh my God, she did. And I love. I'm kind of jumping off the questions, but there was an episode where you guys I thought it might have been homage to Strange when she came out in the strip club and she was just in rare form. I mean, dancers, the whole 9. I'm like, I know that has to be an homage. It has to be.
1000%. Yes.
I'm so glad I picked up on that. All right, question number 10. Last question.
Okay.
Marcus invites Jacqueline over for an informal business dinner at his apartment. Mm-hmm. This was Jacqueline's first acceptance of a date of any kind, and Marcus used it as an attempt to woo her in his usual way.
Yes, he did.
Which choice did not happen? All right.
Okay.
Yvonne talked to Jackie.
Okay.
Jacqueline ate her dinner in front of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Jacqueline asked Marcus for a beer.
Mm-hmm.
Jacqueline helped him clean the dishes.
Well, first of all, even if I wasn't super familiar with the movie, this is obvious to me because Jacqueline is a player just like Marcus. Mm-hmm. Help nobody with no dishes. That was more Ram. You know what? That was an Angela type of spirit. Shout out to her. So definitely the last option did not happen.
You got it, girl. You did that. You did that. I need to give you another round of applause on that one. Because you did that.
That was fun. I love
fun. Mm-hmm. Thank you for playing a little game with me.
Of course.
Hope you feel relaxed and comfortable. Now we can have some girl chat.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And like I said in the beginning, you guys, we're talking with Brittany Inge of BET's Boomerang. Mm-hmm. She's doing so phenomenally. I'm a huge fan of the show already. So like I said, this interview particularly for me is really special. So again, thank you. I obviously want to talk about Boomerang. Season 2, I feel like your character is very prevalent. Like, we're getting a lot of Crystal season 2, which I love. Because season 1, I feel like was definitely rooted in Simone's storyline. The other characters, they got a lot of shine. We saw Crystal as the supporting character. But this time, it was like, Crystal she's not here to play. She's not playing no games. And I love that. And that was pretty much I feel like the theme for Crystal throughout this season. Like she's not playing with y'all. Come on. She's
not support, other people's lives. She has her own life. That was literally her arc this season.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that. I feel like and like you just said, that was her arc. And I feel like she kind of started to focus more on what she had going on as opposed to just being the rock for everybody else all the time. Because that's what she was. Season 1, she was the rock for everyone else. And honestly, she wasn't really getting that same energy.
Nope.
She still isn't. You're right.
But no, she's very much like the mother figure to her friends and really settled into that role season 1 and played into it and was always there when they needed her X, Y, and Z. And season 2 was really about her rediscovering herself and learning to put that same energy and pour that same love and nurturing into herself that she so often is pouring into her friends.
Mm-hmm. And we can all relate to that. I think we all can. I'm sure we've all been in a season in our lives where we were just focusing too much on other people and not giving ourselves enough. So Crystal's really teaching us a few things this season. You guys need to tune in. Speaking of Crystal, I think you've already answered one of my questions about her story arc, but kind of piggybacking off of that, this season she has a few moments, a few scenes. She has one particular scene where it gets really steamy, pretty sexy, you know. It's a love scene that she honestly shares with a stranger that she meets in Paris. She gets to take a trip to Paris this season, and honestly, I loved it. Like, that was dope. Girl, that was so. You got your groove back.
Yes, literally got her groove back. Yes,
that was. Was that the name of the episode? It should have been like.
The episode was actually called "Hot Sex," which I thought was hilarious. A hilarious title.
Very fitting.
Had begun referring to the episode as the emancipation of CG because her name's Crystal Garrett. But
I love it.
Literally got her groove back, and as much as like, yeah, she had a love scene with this fine French man that she met. As much as that happened, that episode was more so about her rediscovering herself and coming back to herself, and her being able to let loose and be free, and yes, become intimate with someone else was really just a vehicle and the result of her coming back to herself and rediscovering who she was before she was a wife, before she, came into this friend group and decided to take on the mother role, before she decided to take on everybody else's stuff, who she is and who she was, and her just getting back to that. So that's why she was able to get real free.
Yes, real fast. I loved it. And it's interesting because Crystal's so young, and she's like lived this whole life. Like, she's been married. Like, I mean, naturally she would take on that mothering role is because like she grew up so quickly, she became a woman so young. And I think this season we get to see her just be free, and I love it. Let her hair down. Go Crystal, go.
Yeah.
What I was pretty much getting at was what was it like to prepare for a love scene like that? How do you and your co-star like create enough chemistry to make that scene as authentic for us as possible?
That's a great question. So it was my very first love scene, so I was terrified leading up to it. And my co-star, shout out to Abraham, he played Kofi in the episode. When he came to Atlanta, because he flew from LA to Atlanta to film, first we met up with our director, Dime Davis, and all three of us sat around, read through the episode, talked through the scenes, the chemistry, the backstory, everything kind of leading up to that intimate moment we talked through. Then we had like a real dialogue about what we wanted that moment to look like, what Dime wanted the moment to look like, what each comfortable with and not comfortable with, that whole thing. And then that I set a different date, and we went out to have like dinner together on our own.
It's okay.
Yes, to just like really sit across from each other, look each other in the eye, learn more about each other, and just really get comfortable and know like, hey, I can trust this person. When it's time to get in the room and do work, I can trust you. We know each other. So we did that work. And then on the day of having established all of that chemistry and done all that, previous work, it just flowed effortlessly. In part because of Dime's direction. She made it easy, and she didn't keep us in any one position, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and I'm sure as an actress, you can super appreciate that.
We got it, and then we moved on to the next thing, and that was really nice. But also there was an intimacy coordinator on set who kind of helped everyone, not just me, Abraham as well, because so often I think when we're having these conversations around like what's appropriate, we're so focused on the women, but men are comfortable too, and making sure that lines aren't being crossed and boundaries aren't being crossed. So we have to coordinate that, and it was a closed set, and we did it. I mean, I think the work of being an actor just requires that you do all that prior work that I time to get down to it. You got to just go for it and strip all those insecurities and fears away. And that's
and that's what acting literally is. So if you can't do that, what are you doing?
Exactly. If you don't do that, you got to go for it. So we did, and that's what happened.
It turned out amazing. So obviously you guys were able to, like I said, create some sort of bond to where it appeared authentic to us on set. You guys did that. And you mentioned an intimacy coordinator. Is that something that is common for those of us not in the acting world? Like, is that something that's common to have on set when there's love scenes? Is there always an intimacy coordinator?
these days, that wasn't always the case, but it is common these days, especially with everything happening with Time's Up and the Me Too movement. They put a lot more protections in place to just make sure everyone's comfortable. I see my brother in the comments going off. He was not pleased with that. Hey, brother. It's hilarious. He's like, you didn't do it.
Don't say that no more.
Yeah, it's accurate.
You hurt his feelings. You talked about Dime Davis a lot. Yeah. Just moments ago, and I know she was a really integral part of filming this season. Can you talk to us a little bit about exactly who she is and just how she influenced your creative process this season personally?
Yes. So Dime is she was our co-showrunner for season 2. Dime, Lee Millen, they were our showrunner. Shout out to Anjali. She's also amazing. Anjali actually wrote episode 6, the Paris episode. Oh. Anjali wrote, Dime directed it. So it was literally like a co-showrunner combo platter. Yeah. Genius and brilliant. So that was really exciting to be given that gift of an episode that was created by the 2 women leading our show. But yes, Dime is also a director. She directed our pilot for season 1. She directed about, I think, 4 episodes first season. And so coming back, she also did 4 in addition to show running the entire season. Wow. She's a phenomenal director, young director, and she greatly influenced my creative process. She was a big part of making sure that I was even a part of the show. That Crystal being a part of the show was someone who looked like me, who represented what I represent. She played a huge part in that behind the scenes, even before I got the role. She was very about the character of Crystal representing a certain thing, looking a certain way, being a certain type of Black woman. And so I'm forever indebted to her. She's amazing. She's brilliant. She's a genius, and she's an icon. That's all I have to say.
Well, shout out to Dime Davis.
Yes, Dime Davis.
She did that. And I'm so happy to hear that she fought for a woman to look specifically like you, make it onto the show. Like, we don't have enough beautiful women like you represented. I mean, I think that, nowadays you kind of seeing a little bit more, but not enough realistically, because I mean, it's just not real, and that's what we want to see more of. Girl. All right. Well, shout out to Dime Davis. Yes, so for you this season, why was Crystal's trip to Paris so important?
I think it was important for her to get away from her friends for a moment, remember who the heck she is. And I think it was interesting. I actually read this in a fan review, but they summed it up perfectly. I think why the trip was important is because in Atlanta, when she's with her friends, playing that mother figure, doing everything for everybody else, in Atlanta, in the States, everything is about everybody else that she knows, everyone around her. All her energy, all their energy is going into themselves. But in Paris, everything was about Crystal. And deserved to have that moment, deserved to take a journey, literally and figuratively, of self-discovery and self-love and just self-reconnection. And I think it was important. It was important to see a young woman who, at the beginning of her young adulthood life, had one vision for her life. She thought she wanted to be a wife and a mother, and that's what her life would be, and that was her goal. And to see her kind of live inside of that shift, discovering no, this is actually what I want my life to look like. I think it's important for young people to see that and be able to see their lives reflected on the screen and see what it looks like. It's okay to change your mind, And so that's why I think it's important.
Yes, I absolutely agree 100%. I thought the trip definitely represented Crystal. This was her moment. Away from her friends. It was not about that. And I love just the small moments that she had in Paris. Those small little moments when she was on the plane and she was so engaged with trying to get the perfect Instagram moment, like we all are and all do. She completely missed the fact that Kelly Rowland, for example, was literally sitting one seat across from her. Yeah. So that's crazy. That just goes to show you that we gotta bring our heads up sometimes off the phone. Yes. Head up. Yeah. Yeah. But having Kelly Rowland on set must have been pretty exciting. What was it like to meet her or kind of work with her in that moment?
It was amazing. It's so funny because I met Kelly I think a month before this happened. Like the
Oh, wow.
I happened to meet her at the Tyler Perry gala for the opening of his new studios. And I knew that she was a fan of the show. She watched season one, her post about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, can we roll? And so I got to meet her and talk to her. And she was like, oh, you're so talented. It's so nice to meet you. I'm like, what? Like, what are you saying? And then a month later, she's walking into the makeup trailer. And I'm like, hey, Kelly. Like, who, you know, I met you just last month. Who knew you would be here? And she was like, girl, I did, because I love this show and I manifested this.
Oh,
and
I love that.
High five to that girl. So really sweet and warm and just a gift to our show. Just her even taking the time to come and do our show and make that type of cameo, just an honor. I was so happy that she said yes.
That's so exciting. Synchronicity. Yeah. That's what I call that. Like, you guys were working, the universe was working together.
Yes.
So how long did you guys get to shoot in Paris? I mean, like, was that your first time in Paris?
Yes, it was. It was.
I imagine that was an experience for you. What was that like, just being in Paris as Brittany, not as Crystal?
Yeah. It was amazing. It was like a 9-hour flight, which I don't think I had ever taken a flight that long. It wasn't my first time out of the country, but it was definitely my first time on a flight that long. And it was amazing. You know, we filmed in Paris for 2 days, but we stayed in Paris for, I think, 5 or 6 days.
Ooh,
so it's such a blessing to be able to really have time to experience the city a little bit. Now, that time difference was brutal, so we had to like force ourselves to wake up and, you know, stuff like that. But it was really nice to just be able to have those days off and experience the people and experience the culture and the museums and the food and all that. It was amazing. And on BET's shout out to BET.
Shout out to BET.
Yeah, it was really, really amazing.
That is awesome. Can you remember, like, what is the, like, I don't want to say craziest, but like, what's the most memorable thing that you tried when you was in Paris as far as like the food?
Ooh, you know what?
Did you try escargot?
No, I don't eat meat. I don't eat fish. I don't eat. Yeah, so that's it actually kind of made being in Paris a little difficult at times because they eat all the things and they cook with like a vegetarian or vegan place was a little tricky, but our hotel food and I don't know. That's a hard thing to answer. The croissants were amazing.
Ooh, I know the croissants were amazing.
They were amazing.
The dough.
I think one of the most memorable things that happened, even though it wasn't like a food moment, the most memorable things that happened is that someone in France recognized me from Boomerang. And that
awesome.
That was strange. I was like, oh wow, like, because I forget sometimes that we have BET France and BET Africa. So
that's international.
Yes, that is international. And I'm like, oh yeah, people watch it here. So that was cool.
That is awesome. So Brittany had a great time in Paris. Crystal definitely had a great time in Paris. Are there like any real life similarities between Brittany and Crystal?
I would say yes. I think the biggest similarity between Brittany and Crystal is that we both at times can be like nurturing and mother figures to our friends, for sure. But the difference is that my friends reciprocate.
Right.
Brittany's friends reciprocate. It's not one side. I'm not the only one constantly pouring into them. They definitely pour back into me when I need that nurturing or that encouragement, whatever that may be. So I think that's the biggest similarity. And also like natural hair. We have that in common.
Yes. Love Crystal's hair on the show. Like,
thank you.
Whoever the stylist is, I don't know if you want to shout them out, but shout out to your stylist on the show.
I sure will. Season 1 was Demi Dixon. Shout out to Demi. And season 2 was Al Kazim. He's amazing.
Girl, season 1, your hair was popping. Season 2, because again, it was so focused on Crystal. Like they really got Crystal right. I loved it. I loved it.
3 years, season 2. Also, that's why you saw her hair out a lot. And the braids for Paris, that was a very specific choice as well, because we wanted to really showcase, like, you know, us Black women, when we take a trip, no matter where it is, we got to throw some braids in our hair so we don't have to worry about hair in another country. So we really pay homage to the Black girl travel experience.
Love it.
Shout out to Sharita who did the braids for that episode. So.
How long did that take?
Not long, actually. Same. She did these too. Like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, because they're bigger than they appear.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did that. They look really good.
Great job. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, just jumping back into Crystal's character, are there any real life lessons that playing Crystal has actually taught you? I would imagine so. Crystal, for me, she's kind of already learning about friendships, and I think that totally applies to the real world. What about you?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think playing Crystal in general has helped me accept myself more, and just get in touch with myself as a human, as a woman, as a curvy woman, representing that on screen and having to see my screen and get comfortable with what that looks like, what it looks like for someone of my shape and size to be on screen. And so I think playing her has really helped me get comfortable with that. And as far as like what I've learned specifically from her storyline, I think the biggest thing I've learned is that it's okay to change your mind. Also, I think I've learned that the idea that for women, the end goal, like our goal, ultimate goal in life should be having a partner, that our goal in life has to be a man or a ring or a wedding or a kid, is not real. That's something that we've been taught. That's something that's been programmed and placed on us centuries, for generations.
Absolutely.
Playing her has really taught me that that's not a real thing, and that's not something that pressure
Jumped out at you. Sorry.
Or put on ourselves.
You was testifying so much, you made the phone crazy.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. That's the big thing.
All right. Sorry about that, but I was listening. I was very engaged, and honestly,
your phone had a moment.
That's honestly everything that you said. It is very legit. And then speaking of you being able to be comfortable with seeing your body on screen, honestly, like just watching and just reading some of the comments from fans, everyone's kind of come to the same like consensus that like, wow, Crystal's body is number one, amazing. And how come we weren't seeing more of it? Like, not saying putting it out there, but like, I just feel like in season 1, it was almost like they weren't showing a lot of your body in some scenes. And in season 2, that became noticeable because of how much we were seeing so much of you. And you kind of talked about it a little bit, but is being curvy, something that you've ever had reservations about before getting into the acting industry, before seeing yourself on film? Is that something that ever made you feel, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but you just had reservations about being on screen? And then how did you overcome those reservations?
Oh man. Okay. There's so many things to say about that. I think the first thing I want to say is I've heard that before, people saying, sorry, my best friend's in the comments acting foolish. I think the first thing I want to say is that I've heard that addressed before, people saying like, oh, season 1, we didn't see her body as much as we're seeing in season 2. That's not something that I specifically noticed or recognized, but I think the reason why people are noticing that is because season 2 was directed solely by Black women. And those 3 Black women specifically are fuller figured Black women. I think through their lens and their perspective and how they see themselves, and thus how they see me, and were able to capture my body on screen, you got what you got. And you got patient, and you got better angles, and that's also a shout out to costuming for season 2. Everything just came together a bit more. And so that's the first thing I want to say. Shout out to Black women, just showcase in a beautiful way. As far as being a curvy girl, yes, I've been curvy my whole life, even the childhood version of curvy. It did make me uncomfortable. There were times when my size or my hips specifically would be a hindrance to my career, the progression of, you know, where I wanted to. For a long time growing up, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a pop star. I wanted to be Whitney Houston. And looking up to somebody like Whitney, who was so naturally thin and gorgeous and all the things, I thought that's what I needed to be in order to be successful. And so I spent a lot of time myself up, beating myself down for the way that I was naturally built. And so now, you know, being on TV and representing curvy womanhood for so many people is kind of crazy, but also, again, has forced me to reconcile those feelings and just get comfortable with myself, because I can't sit up here and represent anybody else if I'm not loving myself. Now, I still have my days, but for the most part, yeah, I've had to just do the work to just love myself. I've had to unlearn a lot of things, like so many of us, whether it be about our hair or our lines or the complexion of our skin. There's so many things that we have had to unlearn that we've been conditioned to believe are not beautiful about ourselves, and it's all lies. So I just try to often remind myself of that. And even now, sometimes when I see myself on screen, there are moments where I'm like, you know, I have a little moment, or I'll relapse, whatever. Excuse the birds, I'm outside. I'll like relapse or something, and I just have to shake that off and remind myself, like, who told you that this wasn't beautiful? Who told you that you needed to change for having a little bit more meat on your bone? Like, where did that come from? And when I remember where it comes from, and I don't want to get too deep, I'm able to snap myself out of it and, you know, just get back to the self-love that we all need.
You can get deep, girl, because I'm right there in it with you. Yes, you are preaching. Hashtag who told you?
It's a very way of thinking, and that's the truth. Like, not even trying to get, but it's very Eurocentric, and it's like, who told you that your nose was too wide? Who told you that why? Who told you that your skin was too dark? It's all a lie. And so we break that down and stop being our own versions of white supremacists, because that's what we all internalize. Supremacy, we all do. It's just, this is it. We all internalize it, and if you can break that down, unlearn the stuff, then you can get past all of that nonsense.
Honestly, it sounds cliche, but you can free your mind. Honestly. Yeah. And when you're free, there's nothing like it. And thank you so much, because you're dropping some serious gems. I hope somebody out there is receiving that on today. So what does a day in the life of Brittany look like when you're not on set, when you're not boomeranging, working? What's your day-to-day like? What do you do for fun? Well,
we got to talk first BC, before Corona.
Okay.
Today, BC, before Corona, was, man, filled with auditions, which I very much, I never thought I would miss auditioning. Auditions, acting class, meetings, depending on what's happening in the world. Sometimes doing press, writing, because I also write and am working to create my own content. So it can vary, honestly. The day to day can vary, especially in the life of a full-time artist, because you just never know what's coming. You never know what's coming. This is such an unpredictable career. I'm very grateful for it, but it's very unpredictable and nothing is certain. And you got to really love it if you're going to be living the life of an artist.
So pretty much you're always perfecting, or I won't say perfecting, but perfecting, working on your craft, honestly.
Yeah, you can't, always. You cannot get comfortable, and you got to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and pray for the best. It's not for the faint of heart.
Amen. Well, you're doing an amazing job. I have to tell you that. Like, your performance on Boomerang is awesome. I know that you've actually done some other work, though. You've done some plays. You were in The Ballad of Kloop and the Net. And I have to be honest, before I started preparing for this interview, I wasn't familiar with that play. I was like, The Ballad of Kloop, huh? But I actually went back and was able to find some footage, and I found you singing.
Wow.
Wow is correct. Like, your voice is what? And I hope they put some of that in Boomerang. Like, the next season, I really hope they somehow incorporate your singing into the next season, because you have a voice on you.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Is that what really funny. I would love that too. I would love if Crystal had a moment to sing. I have my own concept for an episode, but they're gonna have to pay me for my ideas. But
okay. I hear that.
A lot of people don't know, in the first episode of season 1, where we paid homage to School Days, that moment where Lala's character Tia has that whole dance off with the majorettes, and she's like the good and bad hair. The other voice that Lala's singing against is me. Now, mind you, it wasn't real singing. It was like funny singing, but that was me. So yeah.
Well, that's a cute little tidbit. Fun fact.
Yeah. Fun fact. Yeah, that's me.
That is awesome. So maybe we'll get to see more, and you make sure you don't give that idea, just give it away to them. Like,
yeah.
Your voice is absolutely worth it. So what do you like most about performing in stage plays? I mean, I know it's probably been a while, but what do you remember liking most about that?
Well, so here's the other thing. So stage plays and theater are 2 different genres. And I love to like share that and differentiate, because they are their own genres and they're both so amazing in their own right. So I was more so like doing like regional theater in Atlanta. And stage plays are more like a Jakarius Johnson or Tyler Perry, or, you know, like, so it's almost like stage plays kind of every TV and theater. And then theater is like the full embodiment of the experience. Yeah, like that whole live experience. And so you said, what do I miss most about it?
Or what do you, well, I guess you can say that, but what do you like most? So what do you remember? Kind of along the same vein.
Yes. You know what I love most about it? There's nothing like that immediate connection and reaction and like energy exchange with an audience. And I love TV and film. I love what we're able to do and all the creative stories that can come to life through the mediums of TV and film. But there's nothing like getting an instant audience reaction. There's nothing, not being able to go back and say cut, and having to stay present in a scene and just push through whatever the moment is, whatever happened. If something falls off the table on stage, you keep going. You know, there's nothing like that. And the energy that theater produces and the chops that theater produces with memorization and so many other things. There's nothing like it. So I miss it a lot. I would love to stage. One of my goals for 2020 was to get back on stage, but you know, I don't think we're gonna be back on stage for a minute. So
I hope that you get back on stage though. It would be so amazing to come and see you in person and seeing you perform live. I mean, I don't know what 2020 is doing with the rest of itself this year, but
2020, but it's not gonna win. It's not gonna win.
It's not gonna win. We're praying against it. What do you enjoy more? You kind of hit on it a little bit just now, but do you like film, TV more, or do you really have a heart for the stage?
I really have a heart for the stage.
Wow.
But there's a but to that. I really have a heart for the stage because there's just nothing like it. But I have not yet had the opportunity to book a really substantial, meaty film role. And I feel like film is the marriage of the 2 things that I love the most. Like I love film is the marriage of what I love most about theater and what I love most about TV. That's where film meeting lies. I would love to book a substantial, meaty film role and be able to sit with that and create the character arc and, you know, do the whole film thing. And I'm a character actor really by trade, and I would love to just be able to dive into some really great character work on. You do it a lot more in theater than you do in TV. So again, film just being that marriage. So that would probably be what I love most. Even though I haven't had the opportunity yet, film would be,
Okay, I can see that. So you being a writer, you know, having a writer mentality, when you do have scripts come across your desk, are you particular about them? Like, are you critical on them? I know for me, like I write too. When I'm watching certain things on TV, I'm critical because I'm like, man, who wrote this script? You know, are you the same way when you get scripts?
Very much so. Very much so. I am not afraid to say no to things. And it's hard. That's a hard place it takes some working up to get to that place. But I'm not afraid to say no. I'm very specific about the type of career that I want to curate, the type of legacy that I want to leave as an artist. And I have no problem saying no. I would rather my integrity as an artist be intact than just accept something because it's coming across my desk, you know? So
sense.
I everything, and if it speaks to me, then I'm with it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I feel like as artists, we have to empower ourselves to be in that place now. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be your Tom Hanks, you know, or Meryl Streep or Denzel Washington, or Val. You don't have to wait till you're at that level to feel empowered to say no, to feel empowered to say, you know what, this doesn't work for me, or this doesn't speak to me, or this doesn't speak to where I want to go as an artist, where I want my career to go. We don't have to wait until we're there. Treat yourself, you know, like you're already there. Treat yourself.
I receive that. That is good.
And you say yes to what speaks to you, and no matter where you are. So I've always been that way, and I'm definitely that way now. I'm curating.
That is good. I think like we do see a lot of actors or actresses like in certain things, and we'll be like, no, not so-and-so in this movie. Why they accepted this part? And it's probably because they more so kind of were worried about the exposure than representing who they wanted to be, you know, authentically. So I think that's really awesome that you're not afraid to say no, and that you take roles that speak to you.
Yeah, you have to.
So I wanted to ask you, this is kind of a personal question.
Okay.
What are your favorite actresses? Top 3 actors or actresses?
Actresses. Okay. Top 3 actors, period. Oh crap. Tom Hanks.
That's a good one.
He is.
Girl. Run, Forrest.
He always. Just like that. That's it. And talk about a character actor. They're all character actors, because that is what I am, and that's all I've ever wanted to be. Yeah, so Tom Hanks, Kerry Washington.
Ooh, that's so good. You have good taste.
Because before Scandal, she was really a character actor. I mean, she would do roles and disappear into them, and you know, made her like a household name. But the catalog, you got to go back.
You got to.
And Jeffrey Wright. Those would be my top 3. All character actors again, but the 3 of them are just amazing.
Amazing. Okay, I have another question for you, kind of similar. If you play anyone in a movie, who would you like to play? Are there maybe top 3? I'm not sure if there's maybe a number 1 person, but there might be a few people. But who comes to mind first?
I do have a top 3, and they're all real people, because my biggest goal in life is to like do a biopic. You know, biopic, a period piece, something to that effect. I just want to play like a real person, someone who has actually walked this earth.
Yeah.
And so my top 3 people for that are Ida Wells, Oprah Winfrey,
yes,
and Sarah Hartman, who's known as Hottentot Venus. Yeah, so those 3.
That is awesome. So, excuse me, I know that you write, you sing, you act. I mean, you are very, very talented. And I know you mentioned kind of throughout the interview that you intend on putting some things out yourself eventually. So like, what type of passion projects can we expect? Or can we expect any passion projects coming from you soon?
So I actually just wrote a short film that's very much a passion project for me. It's very close to my heart, something that I'm a subject that I'm very passionate about.
Okay.
And so, yes, when Corona, it's not quarantine content, though. It's not something that I can film, you know, in isolation.
In these circumstances.
So I have to, the world got to open back up, and then I will definitely be doing what I need to do to get that short film made, because I just want to do it. It will literally be a passion project. I'm not saying if good things come from it, that's great, but I really just want to showcase my writing and my directing skills. I don't even know if I'm in it. I think I just want to write it and direct it. And so, yes, that will be happening.
That's so exciting. And that is so exciting. I can't wait. We're all going to be tuned in, all of us who are watching now, and hopefully more people. But with passion projects, it's really not even about, like you said, who necessarily tunes in. Like, you're just really showcasing and displaying your gifts, your talent. So I think that's pretty cool. So speaking of gifts and talents, music, what type of music are you really into? Like, who are you listening to these days? Who's on your playlist?
You know, I'm old. like
your old soul.
Yeah, I'm an old soul. My mom had me 40, so I came out an old lady.
Mm-hmm.
And so I listen to a lot of old music. I like for my music to have melody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm old school. But I think one of the newest things I've been listening to is this song by Yebba, an artist named Yebba. I don't know if you've heard of her.
I'm not familiar.
But she has this song called Distance that just dropped, a single, and that's a really great song. She's like soul, like blue-eyed soul singer, but she is phenomenal. So I've been listening to that a lot. I've been listening to a lot of Janet recently. Janet Jackson is one of my favorite. She's like my favorite entertainer of all time. And really reconnecting to her music, but not just her like singles and hits, like her albums, because I know track by track. So that's been interesting. Quarantine has just found me reconnecting to a lot of things, whether that be like movies I grew up loving or books, so just revisiting things in addition to taking in new content. So
that's awesome. I love music, and I think you have really great taste in music. Janet is by far one of my favorite artists. I saw the other day you actually posted like a whole Janet playlist in honor of her birthday, and you posted some jams, and like some of the ones that if you're not a fan, like you're not gonna know what's up. But
for
like,
sure,
that playlist was awesome.
Thank you. That's
speaking of music, would you ever consider, or are you considering putting out an album in the next whenever?
You know, music is such a complicated thing for me. I went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I got, I did music there. Then I got my degree in music. And so music was such a heavy part of my life for so much of my life. But at some point, it got to a point where it wasn't fun for me anymore. It became a gift of mine that people dissected and picked apart and beat down so much that it just wasn't fun. And I didn't have the same love for it. But what I've always said, I love to sing, and I especially love to sing in the context of a story, which is musical theater. Because I don't have to think about, do I sound okay? When I'm doing musical theater, I'm present, I'm acting, I'm focused on the story and the message that I'm trying to get across, and that helps me just soar. That said, I've always said that because I hate recording so much, the only way you would ever find me doing an album is if a musical theater album, like for a show that I was in, or a live album, because I love singing live. I love live instruments, background vocalists, and like things like that. So maybe one day I'll find it in my heart and my spirit to do a live EP or something.
Yeah.
I don't count anything out because I'm not in control of this thing anyway. I've learned God is in control. So
amen. Somebody said just put some EPs out for fun.
And I very well may. And Brian is in here saying she's about to do a musical theater album because Brian is a musical theater show that I'm going to be in. And so I'll be, singing will be happening, basically. Shout out to Rob.
I'm here for that. I can't wait. So I know you graduated from Spelman with a degree in music, and you have a whole background in play. We talked about that. Did you ever anticipate that your career would like take off so drastically, especially with TV and kind of film going into that direction? Did you ever see that coming?
Not initially. No, music was the focus. Being Whitney Houston was the focus. And once I graduated from college, I kind of got bit by the bug. And then I started studying and really training in the craft of acting. And I was like, I knew I was a storyteller. I've always known that I'm a storyteller. But it really clicked for me that, acting is my biggest, strongest passion and storytelling gift. Like, it's a passion, it's a calling, and I really believe that, and I treat it as such. And that's why it's like, if you're just trying to be famous or you're just trying to make some money, this is not it, because that stuff doesn't come right away, sometimes at all. You gotta love it. And I don't know, I just think that's the biggest thing for me. It really hit me like, this is what I'm called to do. And I'm
that is so deep.
Called, but so here we are.
If you're called, especially, I love that you use that turn of phrase, being called to do it, because a lot of actors will struggle with, you know, I mean, new actors really, you know, people who are just starting off or they're really wanting to get into the business. Just like you said, you might not be getting all the exposure yet, and you'll feel like, man, I'm not making it, I'm not doing it. But if you're acting every day, if you're doing something towards your craft and this is what you're passionate about, then you're doing it, you're in it. You 100%. Can't look at the exposure as, you know, the measure of your performance. Like, you're an actor, you're in it. So thank you. You're really dropping some gems on us tonight. Like, I really hope like someone's really walking away, like taking something from this.
I hope so too. It's just the truth. It's literally my lived experience. And so I can only drop it because I've had to live it, you know? Mm-hmm. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. A few years ago, you had a show, I guess, or a blog on YouTube. Yes. I was able to go back and find that too. And it was called Leading Lady Chronicles. And yes. It was so cute. It was so cute. And it was so awesome to see you in that setting, kind of giving us advice and little gems before like you became Brittany Inge. It was like Brittany from right behind the desk at work, just like me today. And she keep dropping gems and knowledge about, you know, how to stay fulfilled in the process and how to honor the process. Mm-hmm. What gems can you give someone who maybe is watching, who currently has a dream like yours, but they're sitting behind that office desk like you were doing your blog a few years back? What advice can you give them as far as honoring those steps to get to where they want to be?
I think the biggest piece of advice, I would say, be intentional. Mm-hmm. For every move that you make is in the direction of your dream. Whatever it is. So, you know, there's a saying, do one thing every day to get you one step closer to your dream. I really believe one thing. It could be anything. Write a goal down, you know, read a play, and I'm just speaking about acting right now, you know, read a play, look up auditions, look up how to get whatever, do one thing every day. So be intentional. Mm-hmm. The other thing I would say is be specific, especially when you are looking for guidance, looking for mentorship. Be specific. Have already done some research and some work yourself before you go out asking people for advice or for help or to be the plug or to put you on. Mm-hmm. People helping themselves. Help yourself before you ask anyone to help you, you know? And then in doing that, you will automatically be learning things and having new experiences that will lead to very specific questions on your part. So you'll be able, help me help you. You know, you got to get specific answers. And so I think those are my two biggest pieces of advice. Be intentional and be specific. And that will change everything.
That's life-changing, honestly. I'm walking away taking that with me. Be intentional and be specific. I need to write that down. I need to put it on a shirt.
It's true.
I don't ever forget that. That's awesome. I think just like you said, just doing one thing towards that dream. Just one day, no matter how big or small it is. Like, each day is a step in the process.
For sure.
Look at it.
Yep.
This has been so fun. Are you having a good time? Like, I really am.
Amazing.
Well, I definitely, I could go on and on with these questions, but I really do want to hear back from our audience tonight and see if maybe they have some questions for you. I'm sure there's some Boomerang fans. I saw some questions kind of coming in as we were chatting.
Yeah, but I don't know where they went. Y'all better get these questions in before this cuts off, child.
Get these questions in now. I think we got a few seconds.
Hilarious.
But I really do appreciate you hanging out with us tonight.